Welcome back to another video. Thank you for joining me here today. So we're back with the Reaper quest line, and Claire's ready to go. As you can tell, she looks really good this time. I'm really proud about this outfit. But let's go on to Thicker Than Blood. Drusilla seems relieved to see you walk through her doors unscathed. Glad to see Orcus hasn't sunk his teeth into you yet, Claire. Don't go thinking he's given up on trying, though. He's out there, savoring you from a distance. Can't resist checking in on his prize, just as he can't resist seeking out morsels to tide him over till his feast. Reports we received as a man pale of death sulking about the sands and proof of that. And then there's the matter of his burnt dagger. We don't know who sent it, but we do know what it means. It's a warning commonly used by the less savory elements in Ul'dah. A warning that the next will be delivered sharp and straight to our bellies. More fool them, they've no notion of what we faced and lived, thinking we soil our small clothes over empty threats. Let's hope it's nothing more than that, lass, seeing as that we need to follow up on those reports sooner than later. Anyone fancy a bit of fresh air? If we catch a whiff of Orcus' foul stench, all the better. Claire wants you to ask around near Blackbrush Station, and I'll head to Stone's Throw. When you're done, meet me there and we'll share what we've dug up. Not every member of the family has the means or the inclination to live in the jewel of the desert. Some settle for something with a little less luster. Oh, I get it. I was kind of wondering because some members of their family were living outside the city and all that, so why would they live there when they... I'm guessing that this place must have had at least enough room for them. But there must have been a reason. And I guess I can understand that. I mean, Ul'dah, out of the three main city-states, probably not my favorite aesthetic-wise. I'm not really a big fan of that big fancy stuff. I recognize that self-assured stride, the mark of a woman ready to take on the world and then some. You must be the Eorzean Reaper the boss sent word about. I'm almost disappointed to tell you nothing is amiss. The soldier in me would have loved to see a Reaper in action. I once fought in the Imperial Army, though you wouldn't think it to look at me now. I served proudly under Lord Valens in my youth, until the day he ordered us to use common folk as fodder in some pointless skirmish. I refused, and was sentenced to death for my candor. Needless to say, I didn't keep that appointment. I like him already. Compared to that evil, toothless threats and ghosts are no bother, but the less jaded and more excitable. One lass in particular has been jumping at shadows. She claims to have seen all manner of terrors, but I suspect that she's just startled by her own reflection. Still, if you want to lend an ear to her delusions, you can find her in Lost Hope. Okay, let's go there. Wow, I had no idea that Ul'dah was filled with Garleans. And down here. Hello there. Oh, hello. Who are you? Oh, did you receive my missive? She sent someone to rid us of this terrible evil wandering in the wings. Truly, she cares for us as if we really were her flesh and blood, which is more than I can say about my own. Not once have I longed to return to that life of comfort I left behind in Garlemald, and I have Drusilla to thank for that. She isn't the reason I left home in the first place, of course. Had I not met my beloved, I would certainly still be feasting on lemon cakes in ignorance. In ignorance of love, of freedom, I found the former in Garlemald, and the latter in Eorzea, as her new life blossomed into something beautiful. Not every day has been easy, not even most days, but Drusilla's watchful eye has kept us safe, and our freedom is worth any measure of hardship. Such terrible fear gripped my heart when my beloved told me of the pale man he spied on the sands. But now that the family has come to help, I can breathe a sigh of relief. I'm sure you wish to know precisely where to find that horrid creature, but I cannot help half so well as my beloved might. Seek him in the southeast and pray put an end to this nightmare. Okay. So I'm guessing a forbidden love has caused them to run away. And with Dandy. Through deviled mists the hunter doth now tread, tracking the scent of quarry others dread. In darkest nights cry for a keeper. Lo, by your side she walks, the reaper. Apologies for the effusive display, friend. I'm a poet, you see, and cannot resist putting into words the flood of emotions that accompany such a striking figure as yours. Oh no. Whoa. Monster! Really? I hadn't noticed. Bloodlust emanating from this void scent is potent and powerful. Oh, please. I've seen worse. So I'm guessing this is a message from Orcus as well. Yep, no problem. Thank you, thank you, thank you, my savior, my godsend. Would that I could have aided you, but alas, a poet's pen is of little use in battle. Unless, of course, that battle involves not words and sights, but words. Just ask the sire of my beloved, who is even now licking the wounds dealt by the interventive verse I composed after he had the gall to forbid our union. As masterwork of scathing metaphor and subtle remonstration. Alas, for all their pretensions, nobles are anything but subtle in their rage. We are forced to flee, to abandon our homes with only our love for sustenance. Nevertheless, I've regretted not a single moment of our life in exile. In Eorzea, we found an unexpected treasure. Freedom. Freedom of mind and freedom of heart. But I digress. Surely you did not seek me out to simply save my life and leave me with a nod and a smile. She wished to commission a poem. The Pale Man? I encountered him whilst wandering these arid wastes in search of inspiration. I felt the gaze of some terrible presence upon my back, and when I turned to meet it, he was standing there, grinning like a butcher in a bullpen. He wore robes much too thick for these scorched sands, and his skin looked as if it had never been kissed by the blazing sun. Worst of all, his eyes were two bottomless pools of blood. I feared my end had come, but then he vanished as quickly as he had appeared. Perhaps I've been reckless. Reckless incidents make it clear that the cost of inspiration is higher than I'm willing to pay. I shall return to my beloved, for both my safety and hers. Thank you again, my savior. Yeah, well, I'm guessing that he must be following him. Ooh, I get it. I get it. Orcus must have known that they would have contacted Drusilla and warned her that they spotted the Pale Man, spotted him in the sands, and they definitely would have investigated, and that's going to bring Claire, like, in his line of sights. That's pretty much what I'm guessing. There you are. And? Another one of his accursed minions. Well, I suppose we can take comfort in that fact that none of the family came to harm, yourself included. Well done. Speaking of which, what do you think of this family you've been thrust into? Speak freely, I haven't lived this long by taking offense at opinions I don't want to hear. I like it. I guess. I don't really like any of these, but seems like any other family to me. Ha! See some odd families then, I reckon. I like to think we're one of a kind, though. A collection of cast-offs unfit to live under the Empire's boot. Yours truly included. Much as some enlightened types might tell you otherwise, people like to have a say in the life they lead. That's what separates us from those bugs over there. Born queens, workers, drones, bred into roles ingrained so deeply they wouldn't know how to live otherwise, for the glory and prosperity of the hive. But we've got it in us to be different. Might be born into farming, soldiering, or politicking, but we can choose to walk a different path whenever the fancy should strike. Tain't in our nature to accept our lot without question. No, we have to believe in something, put our faith in it. Only then will we deign to march in step. And indeed, faith of a savage stripe is one way to get us dancing to the same tune. Others might be compelled through faith in logic or law, intangible, invisible, yet cause enough for killing and conquering if it suits the queen. The invaders have sullied our birthright for 8 centuries. No longer. We march for Locus Ammonones. With a few righteous words, his radiant Solus Sos Galvus whipped the hive into a frenzy. Once that fire is burning, the passion of the masses can't soon be quelled. Was what once a wish for home became a holy mission to spread enlightenment. Enlightenment which would not suffer such beliefs as the beastmen held. Countless scores rendered up their lives on the altar of empire, until an entire continent was unified under a single magic tech fist. For those who still dreamed the dream of unity, a deed worthy of song. Yet some awoke to see it for the tyranny it was, my grandfather Rolus included. The talents of the Reapers are passed down through bloodlines. Rolus was the best of us, the most accomplished and feared in the Order's long history. Of course he was. The duty of the Reapers, our role in the hive, if you will, was to deliver our countrymen from corrupt and power-hungry tyrants. When Garlemald found religion and conquest, its appetite grew to be insatiable. My grandfather pondered this conundrum for many sleepless nights and came to a decision. He would relieve Solus Sos Galvus of his life. Oh boy. Big mistake there. 20 years ago, he slipped into the deepest chambers of the Imperial Palace, silent as a shadow, until he could hear the Emperor's beating heart. Yet when Rolus returned to me, Solus was alive and well. My grandfather, on the other hand, had a skittishness to his step, and his black hair had turned a pale white. He said not of his encounter with the Emperor, save that the most powerful man in Garlemald was no man at all. Shamed in his defeat, my grandfather sought greater power. Bit by bit, he gave more of himself over to the void sent behind his avatar. Orcus struck when Rolus was weakest, taking his flesh and soul in one fell swoop. When he was finished, not a mote of my grandfather remained in that body. There was only Orcus. The fiend flew into a rapturous frenzy, and my family were his first victims. I remember the chill of his teeth sinking into my flesh, gnawing until they reached my very essence. How am I standing here before you then? Our Orcus gorged on a soul that night, but it wasn't mine. Not exactly. It was my avatar that filled his belly, seeing that was all he could stomach. Some might consider that a lucky twist of fate, but I had little time to ponder my fortune. Fled soon as I was able. His radiance never looked kindly on those trying to end his life or their families. I wandered about for years until I settled here and started seeking out others like me, others who had woken from the Empire's dream. Memories is what we call the spirits of the dead in the Garlean tongue, a fitting moniker if there ever was one. Waking up from a long sleep ain't unlike climbing out of the grave. I can attest to that. Son of a bleeding... Remind me not to give such long-winded speeches when the sand is blowing in my face. I'm heading back for some ale. See you at the headquarters. Wow. So she really opened up to us. That's an interesting story. And I love it. It was such a good story. Okay, so I guess we get to head back. And... yeah, I guess... so these quests are only supposed to go up to 80. So we're only having one more quest after this, so I'm actually kind of worried. So I wonder how they're going to wrap this whole thing up. So if the next quest is going to be the last one, if I'm right about it, then we're going to have to face up against Orcus once and for all. That's what I'm betting anyway. Seems a bit more lively here, doesn't it? In Pearl Lane. Well, if it ain't Claire, you heading in? Yes, indeed. And I actually wondered about the name, so I'm actually impressed with the name as well. Welcome back, boss. How was the family? Shaken but unharmed aside from some tousled hair and mangled verse. Orcus left one of his minions behind as a gift, but Claire made quick work of it. I always said she was a keeper. You have an eye for the fierce of hearts. Sure, we'll take it. I wager she could slay Orcus all on her own. Not that we let her take all the glory. Of course we wouldn't. We'll all be there when Orcus tries to take his prize. I don't think we'll be waiting long either. Orcus said his strength with Claire was ripe with fear and hatred and despair. Seasonings he's loath to forgo. I have an inkling how he might try to draw out those emotions and finish off a half-eaten meal besides. Right you are, Drusilla. How many nights did you mourn your lost avatar, the wellspring of your power? I must say it was quite the dish. I think not. Move so much as a finger and her head will hit the floor. That's it, Claire. That fire. I want to see it burn. I want to see it rage. I want to see the hatred seep into the depths of your soul. Shall I make this Drusilia's last breath? Or this one? So very hard to choose. I was right not to give in to my baser instincts, to allow the thoughts of your taste to simmer in my mind, as you and Drusilia formed a bond, a kinship, even born from an understanding of her inconsequential ideals, that you may better appreciate the bitter loss. But perhaps I should wait a little longer, to let the flavor of your hatred mature and the tang of your malice ripen. I can make use of Drusilia yet, revel in her screams, exult in her misery. Oh, how splendid it will be. All the while, my prized piglet growing fat with loathing and succulent with terror. Patience rewards the dutiful gourmet, does after all. While your tantalizing flavor is fully matured, I shall return, and I shall reap my harvest. Well, damn. I was not expecting that. Oh my god, what the hell just happened? He could have done that at any time? Oh man. God's damn void-sent bastard, soulless piece of shite! Orcus is going to pay for this. Aye, that's the spirit. Right, we need a plan. First things first, find out where Orcus is hiding. The rest of the family should be able to help with that. In the meantime, you need to prepare. I know you're good, Claire, but we can't leave the boss's life to chance. Sharpen your skills and your sight, then sharpen them once more. The boss can't do aught against Orcus without her avatar. That means you'll have to do the heavy lifting. Of course, I'll do what I can to afford you an advantage. You can count on that, for Drusilia. Wow. That was intense. Okay, so the killing art. So that's gonna be the next quest. Ooh, and Shroud. That's gonna be interesting. Alright, so I guess that's gonna be it for right now. I can't wait to see how this story ends, so it's getting good. So until next time, everyone, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you all again soon.